Today we got a really cool topic, and we're doing something a little different. This is kind of a cross between a webinar and a podcast. And these four handsome guys with me today are from Prosigo. And we're really talking today, our theme is common job site disasters and how to avoid them. Now, if you guys don't know Prosigo, this is a very old company. These guys were founded in 1939, and they have four product lines, which these four experts kind of represent for us. Starting kind of right to left on my screen, although I may have this backwards. We've got Dave Pennington, who's going to be talking about the air barrier line. Dave, give us a wave just so everybody knows who you are. Next up, we've got Jake Boyer in the masonry cleaning and protective treatment lines. We've got Brian on the anchoring line of their business. And then lastly, but not least, we've got Nick on the concrete flooring line. Your family of products, which is the air barrier line. First off, would you define the word air barrier for me? Because I think, honestly, it's a little bit of a misnomer. When I first started learning about your products a dozen years or so ago, I was a little confused by the term air barrier. Would you explain that to us, Dave?
Yeah, I think that, it is used probably improperly quite often. I think air and moisture barrier or a vapor barrier or air and moisture barrier is the kind of what you're looking for. And then within that, you have permeable products and non-permeable products to enhance the dynamic of your building based on what the needs are of the specifier or the climate zone or whatever.
But Dave, there are other products that are in this fluid applied weather barrier category. What separates Prosigo, and how do people know which products to use on their projects?
Well, that's a great question, Matt. The products, we have different systems, and they're really kind of broken out based on the needs of the job. Permeable, non-permeable, like I said, but they all detail with the same type of detailing products. And the first thing people need to know is that we're all fluid. All of our materials are fluid. We believe in fluids because they fit in irregular spaces. They're easy to apply. You know, some of the things that people say against fluids is that you can't control thickness, but our fluids have built-in thickness controls. And so we're thick where it counts at all the transitions and penetrations. And then you cover those detailing products with a field coating that's either permeable or non-permeable. And then, of course, the thing that we're most known for is that we brought Salile terminated polymers to the air barrier scope. That was in the past used as a sealant, that chemistry, and it's been adapted to be used in the air barrier industry. So there's a lot of followers in that now. I think, imitation is the greatest form of flattery, and there's a lot of products out there now, but we pioneered that. So
one of the things that I like about what you guys do, Dave, is you've been really smart about making the R-Guard system really make sense to me as a builder in that, and this is kind of probably a minor thing, but for me, I really like that each one of your products has a different color.
yes.
For instance, the main wall of the house in the R-Guard system is a big orange, bed liner wall against the house. But then when you start detailing things like Fast Flash is red, and your joint and seam sealer is pink. That's the one that has the fiberglass in it. And then on the inside, when we go to detail the windows against those, you've got a white air barrier. Or am I calling that right? Is that the family?
Weather seal. It's the weather seal, the interior weather seal. Air Dam is the product.
I was calling it the wrong product name. But I really like that you guys have color coded everything to make it really easy for both the installer and the superintendent, the builder, the remodeler, the architect to understand what's happening in that process and seeing the different colors go up in that process. Makes sense. Now, when you talk about muriatic acid and cleaners, I'm thinking as a new construction builder where this is a clean that happens right after the project's done, but that's not always the case. And you guys are making cleaners for years or even decades or a century down the road as well. Can you explain that to us a little bit?
Yeah, so we've got within our line of products, basically, if there's a hard surface with a stain, we make something to clean it and something to protect it. Specific to masonry, which has kind of been our origin over the years. We do anything from new construction cleaners for things like mortar smear removal, general job site dirt, efflorescence, not to be confused with effervescence or evanescence. Efflorescence, lime run, other common new construction stains. We make something for each and every one of those individual stains and substrates. And that's one of the important factors, is to focus on the combination of the staining and the substrate. There is no such thing as a one size fits all cleaner for specifically for masonry, especially because every different substrate has a different composition, a different chemistry. When we move into the maintenance cleaning realm and or the restoration cleaning, different chemistries are applicable. When we're dealing with atmospheric or carbon staining, there may be a different component or a different ingredient that's specifically going to break down and dissolve those stains, different than just basic mortar smears. At the end of the day, people consider acid to be a kind of a bad word, but in reality, it's kind of a natural element that's required for dissolving anything that's an alkaline stain, such as a mortar smear. There's no such thing as a non-acidic cleaner for dissolving mortar smears. And if you read that in the data sheet, read a little deeper into the safety data sheet and look for the pH. If it's below 7, it's an acidic cleaner.
Brian, first off, define masonry anchors and where you guys focus on those anchors in the construction world.
Well, the anchoring system that we have here, let's just start by saying life safety. That's what it's all about, right? We're here to shore up a building. It's all about life safety. Before these fellas can get on there and shore it or to seal it or, get the water penetration, all thing else, we need to make sure that facade is sound, right? And that's where it all started a few years ago with us. Some of the types of anchors that you're talking about is we've got an envelope system. So you've got a facade and you've got a backup. And where it all comes from, where it starts is something's failed. Be it a corrugated tie in a past, be it header bricks from the years gone by, because as a building, in an envelope, a building goes up and down, thermal movements, right? That's what we're there for. There's different styles that we have. The main style that we'll have, one of the ones that we do the most with is the helicals, and that's a 304 or 316 stainless steel helical tie, which is a friction fit type application. We do a pilot hole, we'll go through the mortar joint, through the void into the backup system. Or we could have an expansion type where we have a grip tie where we'll have something with a brass fittings on the front and back end. It's 304 stainless steel. Again, this is going to be for a little stronger. We're going to expand into the facade, expand into the backup, but the goal is to hold this building together. And so we also have material that we could do that would be horizontal, stitch type bar. We can build lintels over windows, over openings like that. Again, to shore up the facade, to make the building safe. That's what it's all about. Every day in America, bricks or stone, a part of the facade falls out. That's what Prosigo thought about. That's why we're here. We are here to make this safe.
So what's the main function of a floor, and what type of abuse will that floor be accustomed to?
Yeah, so I mean, really, when you're deciding the protective treatment is really, that's key, right? So polished concrete fits in a lot of places. It may not necessarily be for every single place, but one of the things you have to consider is what's the intended use of that floor, right? So Jake talked about penetrating sealer, protective treatments, versus topical. A warehouse, a topical application doesn't make sense a lot of times with heavy traffic, wheeled traffic, forklifts, things like that. But in a more commercial space, it may make sense. It really kind of depends on what the intended use of that floor is going to be, on what protective treatment you want to use, or even if polished concrete makes sense in that scenario.